Yes, it's a great idea. I think that's a wonderful idea.
Yeah, I've never
Perfect.
used
Right.
a system like that. I've used
Okay.
a
All
very
right.
small version,
Let
but
me
All right,
let me
I'm
tell
going
the
to mute
story.
everybody if we don't stop talking, okay? Until I introduce the show, okay? That's okay with me if you're going to keep talking, but you'll be talking to yourself. Anyway, hey, that's the way I feel most of the time anyway, talking to myself. Hey, if you want a good answer, but the other day, I'm getting old and I realized, I was looking in the mirror and I didn't know who I was looking at. I said, my God, I couldn't remember my name.
who's that
It's
old
it's
guy?
it's 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 not a good thing. But anyway, welcome to Thinking Out Loud with Friends, 277th consecutive episode today. And welcome. And hey, we're here with our friends of SoundBroker. So, hey, and we were talking about putting together PA systems in convention halls and little theaters and
Corporate
what did you call it,
corporate events.
Bruce? Corporate
Talking
events.
heads.
All right.
And then David had something to say, and we're going to let him talk right now about it.
So Bruce had gone through an entire thing about putting up source point speakers and line arrays, flown, big rooms, whether they're aimed properly or not is the difference between having a feedback-free show or not. I was going to bring up that back in 1999, I had seen Patrick Bolsell put JBL Control 25s under the first and possibly the second row because the PA in a TV show
Very low.
be further back because you can't hear it in the mics.
And they want it so
So,
soft too.
right. So that was it. That was it for underseat speakers. Kenny Newman picks up SAP software, and they had something like 15 breakout rooms that they wanted to be in the same general session room as the general sessions and the booths and everything else. So now we had to come up with a way of have a sound system, 15 sound systems, plus the general session without bleed from one to the other. And I said, well, if it works for the first two rows, maybe it'll work for the entire PA. And so I had the producer buy 350 pair of Control 25s. Pat Balsell gave me 150 pair. And we ended up having them build the stands so that we could put the speakers on the floor and all the wiring, because none of the sound companies wanted to invest in it. And it worked incredibly well because each speaker
I'm
was
sure.
3 feet from the head of the guy it had to cover. And it worked so well that the next year, Rock City Sound went out and bought hundreds and hundreds of speakers. And then for the next 12 or 15 years, that's what we did. And we had theaters. It was only the breakout rooms because the general session is too many thousands of people. But
Right.
the breakout rooms would have 600 people, some of them. And we never had any feedback problems. They sounded great, those speakers, and it worked. And what was interesting is that we had to come in because it's corporate and you can't look like you did an install. It has to look like a real install. You can't find any cables loose anywhere.
Yeah, everything has to look right.
We had to lay out where every speaker went on the floor before they put the carpeting in. And
Oh, you
then,
cabled ahead of time, huh?
yeah, we cabled ahead of
Oh
time.
my
What we
God.
ended up doing is that we cabled a second chair in each section and each row, because the first chair was covered by one speaker covered three chairs. And then we came up through the carpet with a tail, and then we hooked another loom to go down the row. So we just had to come up in each row, in
Right.
each section. But we had to do it without the drawings being the way eventually the drawings, knowing that we had to do that, gave us a center line. But we had no center lines. We had nothing for the first couple of years. And we did it, and it worked great. And they're still doing it. They're just not using Firehouse anymore. Claire got their feet in there, and they're
Yeah.
getting it.
So one time I had to go to Seattle and they wanted six breakout rooms on one convention floor. And one of the couple times we've done it where the doors open and a half an hour later it's a general session, and half an hour after the general session the doors all close, all air wall doors, and then they break out into smaller sections. And I'll tell you that story if you want to hear it, but that was interesting. But anyway, so what I did for having all six breakout rooms in the same convention space is each breakout room was about 250 people. So we tight hung 250 people, and I was doing one box per side of 90-degree boxes and then one box per side delay. And that was a package for one room. And then we carpeted the whole floor and we did 22 feet of velour drape and we double walled the velour drape. So there was about 6 inches between it. Because, that kind of acts as a sound barrier and a dead space between the velour drape. And you know what, man? It worked great. We had 6 breakout rooms going at the same time, and you could be in one room and not hear the other room. And it amazed me it worked as well as it did because they didn't want to spend that much. And I had talked to them about putting speakers under chairs, but boy, I just it was like a lot of work and a lot of buying speakers, and I didn't know anybody that had enough of those things. But yeah.
Wow, and that's what you love doing. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. When did you stop playing guitar or drums or bagpipes? What was the instrument that you went into this business to,
You talking to
I don't
me?
know, enhance? Yeah,
Drums. I was a drummer in high school and junior high school and elementary school. I was in
there
marching
you go.
band and played in a bunch of rock bands. And in fact, what got me into this business, it's funny you mentioned Firehouse because way a long time ago it was Rock City Sound, and he had like A7s in a garage, and he was the sound guy for our high school proms and dances and all the high schools around us. And our band used to play Battle of the Bands. I'm sure you guys remember that, and many other things. And what ended up happening is I'd be there to play the drums for my band, and I'd end up helping Sheldon, build the PA for in the junior high school gym for our dance, and then I'd have somebody play my drums so I could tune the drums and in the console. And I always got a bigger bang out of helping him do sound than I did actually playing. I enjoyed playing a lot, but it got to the point where when I got in high school, that's what I wanted to do. I didn't want to play, anyway. So so I evolved, I suppose you might say,
Well,
into a
there you go.
sound
What a
guy. And
career you've had too. You've had one hell of a
you know what?
successful career.
It's been good.
Where's your buddy Wayne today?
I don't know.
I wonder where our buddy Kenny is. I don't know.
We haven't seen Kenny in a
Newman.
while.
I'm in
And,
Maryland.
Fred hasn't been in either.
I'm outside of Annapolis.
Yeah, you got a bunch of
very
stuff
nice.
coming up, right, David? You sent me that email about.
Every weekend for the next 6 weekends.
Oh my
And out
God!
and back and out and back and out and back.
You make me tired thinking about it.
Well, the good news is I don't have to drive. I don't have to walk. I just sit on a plane.
Yeah. Good mileage, huh?
And then I'm in a bus. So, yeah,
Yeah, that's cool.
not bad. This is pretty easy lifestyle. You just have to be ready.
So now, when you're on the plane, how do you pass the time? Do you sleep? Do you listen to music? What do you do?
I watch movies.
Yeah, I watch movies too.
I watch, and the problem is I've seen every movie on the planes now, so I keep trying to find something I haven't seen yet.
Well, I have my iPad for tuning the PA, and usually what I'll do is the day before I have to travel, I turn my iPad out of my room or wherever I am, and I go into Netflix and I download movies to watch on the plane.
So I'm going to have to start doing. I haven't had to yet.
Yeah, so the only thing I use my iPad for, I have all the programs on for the consoles that I use, and then like 5 movies, and that's it. And the movies change regularly,
I carry 2 iPads, one just for the show, and one for me to travel with. So I have a little workbox, and my iPad for the show sits in the workbox. It does walk-in music. It does console, offline programming stuff.
Oh, my Macintosh laptop does walk in because I do walk in off of Spotify usually, but only my laptop or my iPad is just for tuning, walking around and tuning.
Yeah, I hear that the new Apple software for the iPad is pretty good, but of course, I'm not planning on upgrading to 26 on my computer, at least not for a while.
Are you
but I hear
talking
it's
about
pretty good. I put
the
it on
release
I
that just
put it on my
Hi,
yeah,
Chris.
I just put it on my phone and my watch. It's really cool. And of course the technology of the Apple environment, is pretty cool. I'm enjoying it, but I don't really see where, I would like to be involved in their design team. And then I'm sure then it would be just the way I like it. But anyway, anybody buying any new stuff? I decided not to buy the phone this year. I'm not going to buy that. I
I'm
just
not
bought the
gonna.
16 last year.
Yeah.
But
I'm gonna
I do
get
want to get those
the
new, the AirPods. I hear are phenomenal.
yeah, the
Everybody's reviewing
AirPods are
them.
good, and this watch is like the one of the worst years they ever made. It like has a battery that lasts about a day, depending on how much you use it. So I'm
I've
gonna
been
check in and get a new watch.
Yeah.
Are you going to get the Ultra?
I am actually, yeah.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get the
Last
Ultra
week I
3.
bought a 10 from Costco because it was a good deal.
Yeah, well, that's a great watch. It's an absolute great watch. You
Right.
know, the thing is that if you have two watches, right? You have two watches, then you have two chargers, and then you put one on your desk, one by your bed, and then the watch is always charged because when you're sitting at your desk, you just pop the watch on a charger,
Yeah, mine's right
and
here. Mine's
Yeah,
right here.
the other the one of the big things also is, well, I mean, it's it's got the SIM chip and all that, but it has a blood pressure monitor now,
not
and then
quite, not quite. It's not a blood pressure monitor, but it does an accumulation, and it will notify you if they see a change, and will notify if you have hypertension. But if you already have hypertension, they recommend that you don't use it.
interesting.
Really?
I was hoping for glaucoma this time, that they would have a glaucoma check, but I'm sure they're working on it, and it's going to happen.
That's how I found my brain tumor, was just at a standard eye check, and the guy said I had glaucoma and unilateral, which would be very strange. And that's what triggered my medical foray, and finally finding out that I had a tumor.
Well,
Wow.
you started using medical assistance a lot earlier in life than most people, So congratulations. You got to jump on us all,
Oh,
you know?
it was total happenstance. I'd probably be blind in my left eye had I not gone into the water with my sunglasses with my boys who were out having a day on the beach. And I just had my glasses on and just didn't even think about it. Just kind of dove in. I'm, oh, that was dumb. I had my sunglasses on. So I
Mhm.
went back up, threw the sunglasses on the towel, and then and didn't rinse them or dry them off. And then when I came back, the because it was so hot, the sun was so direct that it actually the laminate, of the coating separated. So anyway, the glasses were hosed, and I'm like, I should go in and get my eyes checked and get new glasses, and that's what led to the discovery.
I had a
Well, look, you're
scare
doing a lot
because,
better right now. You're doing a lot better than Robert Redford's
Oh
doing
yeah,
right
no,
now,
oh
it's
man,
all
that's
looking
kind of
really
And may
sad.
he
good.
rest in peace.
Yeah, that was sad. I mean, holy smokes, what an icon he was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, amazing, amazing how he affected what we've watched and what he did. Of course, Sundance, so many movies go to Sundance and they populate our society in
I
such an
actually
amazing way.
I actually saw Telluride for the first time in my life about a number of weeks ago. I was in southern Colorado with a buddy of mine who was looking to get a small ranch, and we ended up driving up to Telluride. What a beautiful place in summer, but it it's I don't know I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of like a very small Miami beach in the mountains. The downtown is just entirely, you can see it is just set up on each side with these curio shops and
It's
merchandise.
probably
And
really commercial, isn't it?
yeah, I guess that's a good way of describing it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's very
Yeah.
it's got, there are old buildings up there in Colorado, just like you can find over in Silverton and stuff like that. They have these really beautiful old buildings with these fantastic facades and so on and so forth. But yeah, the whole area is kind of it's a little too commercial for my liking. I think back, I went to school in Colorado, and back in the day, even though I didn't get up there, I had friends that were there, and it was like, yeah, it's kind of very sleepy and authentic mountain town.
Yeah. Well, it built up the whole area. Vale, became a
Oh,
big ski resort.
Vale is just stupid. And Vale Associates apparently just bought the ski area up in Tahoe.
I think the same people, the
Vail has
same,
owned Tahoe for many years.
they
Oh,
own
okay. Well, then it
Park
was
City
another
too.
one. I think they made another acquisition recently.
I think they own Park City also because my brother lives in Park City and
Yeah, Park City. None of
Is
these places were popular until
right.
Robert Redford moved the
And
festival.
what's the one up by Vancouver? Because she
Whistler.
Whistler.
Yeah, because she gets
Whistler.
a season pass at Park City because they live there, and her parents live in Vancouver, and no matter where she goes, Telluride and Aspen and up to Whistler, she can use her pass because all owned by the same damn people.
Yeah. Well, the prettiest place I ever went skiing was Heavenly Valley. I mean, that is amazing up in Lake Tahoe.
That's a beautiful area.
I
It's
tell
just,
you, if you want to do it, and trust me, run the numbers because it's not significantly more expensive as to go to Zurs in Austria. It is absolutely one of the Arlberg Valley is probably one of the most beautiful places on earth. The skiing is just insane. They regulate the number of people that can get on the mountain so it's never too crowded. If you go with a ski instructor, you step right onto a lift when you get to the bottom. It is stunning. The food is fantastic, all of it. And the prices now for a week in Vale for a family of four, two parents and two adult children. I mean, the numbers are enough to make you absolutely just fly out of your seat.
you might as well be going to Disneyland.
Oh, it's a friend of mine, a buddy of mine, ran the numbers. So he's got two younger children. He ran the numbers to go and have like the full Disneyland experience. He took his kids to Switzerland, and it was roughly the same price. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
One thing,
Now what they do, the commercials, they used to do it with the Super Bowl. Hey, where are you going? I'm going to Disneyland. Now they do it with the lottery winners. Hey, you've just won $1 billion. Where are you going? I'm going to Disneyland. I can finally afford it.
Yes.
one of the nice things about that area is Switzerland, all around the Alps, is in the winter, of course, it's all skiing, but in the summer, they keep those, they call them funiculaires, but they're gondolas, running in the summer so that you can go hiking up there. So you don't need to be, in your youth to be able to go up and see the scenery up there.
Do they
So
do
I
the
think,
mountain bikes there too? Because I know
They
oh, you
do it
could bring,
all.
yeah,
yeah,
It's
they hook the
yeah,
mountain bikes on the back of the gondolas and they go up to
yeah,
the top during the summer and they ride down the ski
you
slopes on
bet.
these trails.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
they
crazy.
figured that out, right? That now, the ski resorts used to be only for winter.
Yeah,
Now
not
they're all
anymore.
season. Not
Okay,
anymore. They
I'm
figured
gonna
it
have to
out.
run, guys. I'll be back here in a few minutes. I gotta run and make another call here.
Okay.
See you,
All right,
Chris.
very good. So you got a bigger name on the other line. I like that. I like that. A
So
bigger
I have an
name on the other
interesting
line.
eye story if you're interested.
Hey, why not?
So one day I'm driving down the road and I'm looking at the car in front of me and I noticed that the license plate looked a little weird. And then I didn't think too much about it, and I thought, whatever. And then when I got home, everybody puts crap on their refrigerators, right? Well, I had some Excel spreadsheet tracking something on my refrigerator and the lines were still, when I printed it, were still there because I wanted the lines, right? And I noticed that my left eye, when I closed my right eye and my left eye, it right in the middle, whatever I was focusing on looked like a fisheye lens right there, but everything around it was okay. So in order for me to read what I was looking at, I had to look slightly to the right or slightly to the left. And I immediately thought tumor on the back of my retina. That's what I was thinking. And I'm thinking, oh my God.
That's a positive thought.
Well, what do you think? What could it be?
Yeah.
If the back of your retina is like deformed slightly, that's going to cause that sort of look, right? So I went to my eye doctor guy that I used to go to, and he said, we got to send you to a specialist. So I went to the specialist, and he said, we got to send you to the retina specialist, which was this little 60-year-old Chinese lady. So I thought, this is going to be interesting, So she darkens the room down, and she puts all this stuff in my eyes, and she's scoping it all out, and she's looking at it all. And she says, okay, when your eyes adjust in a few minutes, come on out. I'll be in my office and we'll talk about it. And I'm thinking, oh, shit, how much more have I got to live here, So my eyes, the lights slowly come up in the room, so your eyes get used to it, And I walk in and I sit down and I says, so do you want the good news or the bad news? And I said, well, give me the good news. And she says, well, it's not going to get any worse. And I said, okay, what's the bad news? It's never going to get any better. And I said, okay, well,
she had a good sense of humor. I like that.
Yes, she did. And she said, I said to her, well, that's better than a tumor and I'm going to die in 6 months. And she said, well, yeah. And I said, that's what I kind of thought it was. And she said, nah. She says, you know what it is? It's a when you scratch.
Is that how she said it?
No. When you get a cut and it doesn't. No, not a scratch, but
scar tissue.
Scar tissue. She says, you have a scar tissue in this right smack in the back of your left eye. She says, did you get hit by a laser at some point? And I thought for a minute, and man, we spent a month in Acapulco doing a show, and we were there for a month, and we went to Baby O's Disco in Acapulco, and Baby O's had 2 7-watt argon lasers that were doing all this crazy shit. And it talk about really cheesy way of doing stuff. They were water cooled, and they were venting the coolers, the water coolers. They were pulling the water out of the sinks in the men's room, and the return was going into the toilets. So they weren't paying attention to anything that means anything. And while we were dancing and drinking and having a good old time, I got zapped in the eye a couple of times. And I says, you know what? I was in Mexico, 10, 20 years ago and got zapped by lasers in Baby O's. And she says, well, that would have done it for sure. And I says,
wow.
It only happened for a second. And I really wondered when it happened if it was going to affect me. And I said, and why did I have to become 50 or 55, before I started to notice this? And she says, because your eyes could adjust, and as you get older, the reason why you need glasses when you're older is because your retina does not flex as much and you can't keep things in focus as much. So you wear reading glasses or you wear whatever glasses you wear as you get older. She says, what's happening is your eye is not adjusting, is not flexing to the point where you can, focus on things anymore. So she says, you just need to know this because every time you go to the eye doctor, they're going to see this back there and you got to know what it is so you can get around it. So,
well, thank you, Dr. Bruce, for the story.
There you go. So that was my eye story.
Very good. Well,
be careful of lasers and discos.
That's right. And if you go to Coachella, you got to be careful there too. But they just announced the lineup of Coachella.
I have heard that. Yes.
I am so impressed with they've got Sabrina Carpenter, they got Justin Bieber, Karol G, and Anyma, Anyma.
No K-pop.
Anybody know? I'm sure they got plenty of it. I mean, it's two weekends in a row. It's April 10th and 12th, and then 17th and 19th, and that's going to be one hell of a show. I mean, Sabrina Carpenter right now she used to open for Taylor Swift, and now she's starting to get bigger than the sun. She just introduced a new album, and it's like on the top 40. Every song is in the top 40 of her album, which is impressive.
You should, if you have a chance to watch what Beato have to say about her. Basically, that album, they hired the very best writers. And these writers, like if you look at the people that were writing those songs, they're all people that are writing songs that have billion, if not billions of hits. So yes, she participated in the song and probably said, I want to say this word here and say this word here. But the lyrics were written by pro writers, music by pro writers, all with, 9-digit hits, and when you have that type of people behind you writing, it helps.
Wow. Denny, Does she have to pay the writers? Because I know now the royalties are so weak. How do you get the writers to write for you like that?
I gotta
You
go.
know, go. Okay,
Bye,
sorry, Dave.
Dave.
Have a
Yeah.
good show,
Have a
David.
great week, Dave, and a show.
Right.
I have to be honest and say I don't know, but if based on the fact that they're the main writers, they must be getting a huge chunk of the streaming fees. So I'm assuming that when you get like, listen, I think that the lowest in Spotify, I think your lowest is 0.004 pennies per, but that's like if you're at the bottom. So I'm not sure what the bigger names are getting, which would be higher. But when you get 1 billion streams,
You
that's a
make
lot
10
of
cents,
zeros.
I guess
Well,
10 cents,
that's
What else?
make it a penny. What's 1 billion pennies, Jan? You would know this. You're good with
No, I
numbers,
wouldn't.
you
No,
know.
I wouldn't.
But
No, I wouldn't.
1 billion pennies is a lot of money, I'm sure. You know.
Yes,
It'll
I
be
am
it'll be
positive of that.
it'll be damn heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very heavy. Hey, you guys use Spotify? Anybody here
all,
use
all,
Spotify?
I
all
used
the
to.
time. All the
I
time.
used to. I switched to title. I was at title. I went back to Spotify, and then now I'm back at title.
I use
Yeah,
it
I'm
for
using
walking
YouTube
music.
Music. I'm using. Okay, so what does it mean that Spotify ends shuffle only rule for free mobile users? I saw
I
that.
don't.
It looked like it's something that we should talk about, and I'm not
I,
really sure what it means.
I don't know because I pay for mine so that I don't have to get commercials because I have
Yeah.
clients give me Spotify lists to play for walk-in, and so I usually just play it, and I don't want to be bothered with. I don't want to hear any commercials or anything. So I think
Same
Spotify
here.
Yeah,
costs me like $9 a month or something like that, but it's a
Uh,
tax
my
write-off.
my title in Canadian is $11 plus taxes in Canadian.
yeah. I paid by the year, I believe. I think I paid by the year for YouTube Music, and it's wonderful because I get non-commercialized YouTube videos as well. So
Yeah.
when I'm using YouTube, I don't have any commercials. But right now, I don't know if you've got noticed or if you're even on Facebook, but almost every I look at somebody's post, and then the next post is a commercial, and it's everywhere. It's like
Yeah,
so many paid ads, you know?
Well,
And boy, do
somebody's
they
got to pay for the free
specialize.
stuff.
Yeah,
yeah.
well, they're making a fortune. They are really literally making a fortune.
I
I
think my
mean,
wife pays
it's
for YouTube
insane.
because she has to study all the K-pop. When they post the concerts. She
Yeah.
has to listen to them in order, and then write all the words down to the tunes and stuff like that. When they don't get her the information she needs, she uses YouTube to you know be get ready for a concert like for next week or something like that. She usually has to.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. I mean, you could use now AI. You could use AI. You put the link to what you want to watch, and you say transcribe the music, transcribe all the words. It's amazing what you
Really?
could do with AI. Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
that
yeah,
would
yeah.
save her a lot of time. So go to AI and tell them to transcribe the tune in a YouTube video.
Yeah, you just take the link, you go up to YouTube, pull the link. Actually, if you have a paid version of it, and I don't know if it does it with the free version, but you have the ability to grab the screen. Like if you're using Chrome, Gemini now, and I don't pay for it, so you can do that. You just say, hey, what's on this screen? Analyze it, let me know. But in this case, if she needed the words for the song, she'd say, please transcribe all. Well, you don't even need to use please. You don't have to be polite with AI, but I am. Transcribe the words from the music so that I could read it and put it, so that I could read it so, for later. And that's
Oh,
it.
what an idea! Yeah,
Yeah, and
I'll have to we'll
you
have to look
click
into
on
that.
yeah, like I use another AI and I say please because I wanted to say thank you to me when I'm done replying. But
Oh,
You're so
you
you're
can
so
the new thing,
proper.
by the way,
yeah,
the new thing is the translation aspect of
yeah,
AI is off the hook
yeah.
because I mean, Gemini now, Gemini, the app on Gemini and ChatGPT, they not only do they translate, but they translate it with feeling. so that you get the gist of what somebody's saying
Oh,
rather
that's cool.
than just the words alone being transcribed.
It's incredible. And what you could do is once you've done something, you could, like some of the stuff that I do, what I'll do is I'll select all, go to like I save some of the stuff that I do like in a Word document, select all, copy, move it to my Word document, dump it there, and then I have it so that I can shuffle it and reorder it the way I want to, you know?
Yeah, and now Apple has just introduced live translation, so it doesn't. It's unfortunately for me, it's not Thai yet. They haven't gotten that far. But if you speak Spanish, French, or a few other languages, it's mind blowing
With the
where it's
buds, right?
going.
With the earbuds,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, with
yeah.
the earbuds, and it
Yeah,
doesn't
it's
matter.
amazing.
You don't have to buy the new earbuds
And,
to do that.
Oh,
But
and
it's
what
oh,
pretty
you could do
impressive.
is you could actually say something and it will put it in your phone. Like let's just say you have another language. So you're going to speak to your phone in English and then you just point it at whoever you're talking to. Let's say you're in Italy and it will translate for them in Italian and they can read it off your phone.
Well, now that's old technology. Now,
Okay.
if you and I had iPhones, right?
Yeah.
You had an iPhone, and we put on live translation, we would have a conversation. I would be talking to you in English, you'd be talking to me in French, and we would be hearing the words almost instantaneously, so
Wow.
that we would be able to have a conversation. They showed that in their presentation just recently. And
Isn't it
I
isn't
haven't
it
tried it
funny?
yet, but it's pretty cool.
Isn't it funny that Star Trek has, this has been in part of Star Trek world forever. And so
That's what they
if you
say. Yeah,
so if you look at Star Trek, the flip, Star Trek, tablet, Star Trek, translators like that, Star Trek. So Star Trek was doing all of this stuff decades ago. I mean,
that's right.
obviously it wasn't working in our world, but they were presenting that to us as this is the future and we're here now, you know?
That's
By
right.
the
And
way,
now another
about
thing that
200
from
years
Star Trek,
earlier.
Denny, I
Yeah.
just want you to know I am now going at warp speed too, as well. So it's amazing, you know.
okay, Chris, welcome back. So, if we're all ready, I would love to hear any updates you might have on on the Palisades situation.
Hey, before we do that, Bruce, before they
Yeah,
do that, I just
yeah,
want to, because we were talking about this.
yeah.
Google, Apple, and Microsoft and NVIDIA, they're in the 3 trillion space, man. They have cracked the net value of, or the gross value of $3 trillion. And
Yeah,
if
there's
that's
another.
not
Yeah, and
insane,
Nvidia was the first
actually,
one to actually
to go to
get
4
to
trillion.
that.
It,
Nvidia was
it,
the first to have a $1 trillion market cap, and then some of these. I think Oracle also broke into the $1 trillion market cap. They had a blowout last quarter. Their stock went up like 30% in a day, and what's his name from Oracle went right past Musk and became the richest. Larry Ellison became the
Larry,
richest man in the
I
world.
can't stand that guy though.
Yeah, apparently
well,
he's
that's an opinion anyway. Yeah,
Yeah.
and not only
Oh,
that, his son is now running Skydance.
that is
So,
correct.
oh,
I mean,
really?
which is Paramount.
Yep.
And they've
Yeah, they
I've read that they're throwing money at projects right now. I've read
you
it
bet.
that they're throwing money like it's water, like sand at the beach. They're throwing money at stuff.
So whether you care for Musk or not, this is not part of the conversation, but in his new package, they're offering him if he reaches 8 times the cap that it is now, and he hits it, and I forget how many years, and then there's like 12 different caps that he needs to hit. The payoff, no money until he reaches it, and if he doesn't reach it, he gets zero. He hits it, $1 trillion.
Well, he is like the Henry
Good for
Ford of
him.
our times.
Good for him.
I mean, look,
Oh,
he
this
didn't
is his
design
new
the
pay
Tesla.
package. Is that what you're
Yeah,
referring to?
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
he
it's
didn't
kind of
design
interesting.
Tesla, but he did market it correctly, and it's it's a car company that's doing more business than most of the other car companies. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, but
Well,
You know, that's pretty impressive.
it's beyond a car company now. I mean, people who
Oh
think that
yeah,
Tesla is just a car company has got it all wrong.
Well,
I mean, you know,
just
Tesla
look at
is just a car company that makes
no, no,
batteries
no,
as well.
And
no,
robots.
no. They're
No.
no, no.
Let me just give you a couple of highlights. One,
Yeah,
the P
go.
ratio for Tesla, price to earnings. It's price to earnings. It's priced like a tech company, not like an auto company. And everybody's wondering, well, why is the P ratio for Tesla so high? Because Tesla makes cars, but it's a data company. And if you don't understand that Tesla's entire business model is data, then you fail to understand what those guys are actually doing.
It's kind of
Yeah,
interesting that you say it that way, because most people don't think of it like that. I think that he owns quite a few companies, like that. What's the company that goes with NASA? That
SpaceX,
he's
SpaceX.
SpaceX,
SpaceX, and then he's got the satellite thing. What's
Starlink.
that called? Starlink. There you
Starlink.
go.
And
I
Neuralink
mean, hey, so
also.
it's amazing. It's amazing how you guys know so much about this guy. But is
Well,
Well,
anybody
they
here
his
personal friends with him? Because he's
yeah,
coming over the house for dinner tomorrow.
oh,
If you
nice.
want me to sit, no.
no, but
No, he's like you said, you can agree with him, not agree with him. But
He is amazing.
one thing I think everybody can agree on is that he is very smart. His ability to think about things in ways that other people previously have not is amazing. I mean, he is
Well, he
truly.
reminds me of Ken Porter for that, exact same thing.
but
The way Ken Porter thinks of things.
All right, Ken,
It's
tell
like,
us what you're making for dinner tonight, Ken. What are we having?
Pasta stir fry.
A stir fry. Cool.
Pasta stir fry. I put
Oh,
blue type pasta whatever in with onions, peppers, tomatoes, broccoli, and peas.
mhm.
beautiful. Pasta primavera, even though
Now,
we're
See
at
what
the end of
happens when you
summer.
got that kind of Elon Musk money. You can do whatever you want. You can eat whatever
hey,
you want.
You can eat
That's
pasta
it.
primavera 7 nights a week if you're Elon Musk.
but
one other thing too that I didn't get to last week. Has anybody seen? And I had a tour come back from Northern Europe, and they had this one thing where it said they ran the front of house monitor consoles all off of a UPS that was not powered. So basically, they charged it up somewhere else and took it out. So it was just isolated power from the thing,
Wow.
converted from 240 or whatever your console was, your mix position was. It could be 110, 60 hertz, or it could be 240, 20 hertz, 50
The,
hertz, whatever.
the general
50
problem with
hertz, 50
using an
hertz a year.
inverter, that the general problem with using an inverter in audio situations is you need a really high quality inverter, because if you get a cheap shit converter, it's a square wave.
Yeah.
Instead of being a nice sinus like you would get in a regular power system, cheap inverters give you a square wave. And some PCBs, these electronic boards, don't do terribly well when they're getting a square wave on the input, and you can get all sorts of strange artifacts in the audio.
Now,
But if you have that going, having the straight voltage, having no ties to grounds everywhere, there's so many advantages to doing it that way, right, Ken?
Absolutely.
the other thing that he had was they had in this festival they were at, they had hydrogen powered generators.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, where the coming out was just water, drinking water basically, but it was
Oh,
running.
the Hindenburg 3000s. Yes, those are fantastic.
The Tesla last week introduced something called I think the Mega Block or the Mega something. This thing will fit on top of a truck. It will power 3,000 homes for an hour. So
Oh
you
yeah,
just
they have
yeah,
his okay, so they're coming out with
yeah.
solid state batteries. So instead of having it's still a lithium battery, but instead of having liquid as part of, separating the anode from the diode, it's actually it's compact matter. So with these different ways of making it. There are a couple of really good videos about it, but essentially they charge much faster. And the one issue that was quite interesting is as they charge, particularly if you're charging them quickly, they actually physically expand the batteries themselves. So in the design of the battery, they've actually got built in the fact that the battery is kind of in a pouch, and then the pouch sits in a frame, and the frame allows the battery to expand and contract without changing the entire form factor of the battery itself. So some pretty some very good advances being made in the solid state battery space.
So they've been working on a sodium or a salt battery. Is that kind of the same thing, or is there water involved with that, liquid involved?
I'm unfamiliar, can't respond. I know that you know they've obviously this is a very big deal, right? And but we are constrained by the laws of physics, so it's a very interesting problem to try to solve.
Before we're going to get kicked off the Elon conversation, I just want to finish on this. What most people don't understand is this guy is so busy that there's days where he sleeps under his desk at the office. This
Many
is not
days.
the type, yeah. This guy, I mean, he posted just, I forget when, he posted his 1 week schedule. This guy, I mean, he sleeps in the office underneath the desk because he works so many hours. And
Uh,
he
Are you
goes like
sure
from
that's
this
why he
company.
does that? Because I heard he doesn't have a house. I heard that
and
he
for
doesn't own a
yeah,
home.
You know
no,
what?
that
At one
Jan is
point,
actually
yeah,
correct.
yeah,
At one point when he was moving into SpaceX, he was living in a tiny home that was made by a company called Boxable.
yeah.
And Boxable makes really nice tiny homes. You should check them out if you're ever interested in a tiny home. These beautifully designed, modular, very small homes. And so he was actually living in Texas in a boxable tiny home.
So
Well,
anyway,
you almost
so
have to have Elon Musk type money to be able to go to the World Cup this year. I mean, tickets for each event, $6,700 up to
What?
60. Wow, it's crazy. World Cup tickets initially to
Wow.
cost 60 to $6,730, you know?
Oh, this is at
And
they're having it at the New Jersey Stadium, right? The final.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Isn't that
Holy smoke.
crazy?
I think that's there's something wrong in the food chain somewhere in there, you know, in
well,
terms of how even you know, even Trump signed some executive order trying to help out, you know, with the distortion for concert ticket pricing,
Yeah,
right? So
well, there's a
you
lot of hidden fees because of
oh well, the
Ticketmaster.
worst thing that happens is that somehow, some way, you know, all the tickets get sold, and magically, it's just no one can understand how it happens. But all of those tickets that got bought so early in the morning end up getting resold at, you
On
know, 20,
StubHub and various
40,
ticket prices. Yeah, yeah.
50x face value. And the artist is just getting shafted here. They're just getting shafted.
So I have a question. Ken, maybe you know this answer. So concerts get canceled. Like, for example, Lady Gaga, she broke the news on Instagram that she had to cancel one of her 3 nights because her voice got strained. What happens and how is that handled as far as a loss of money? Because that, you've got the sound company, the lighting company, you've got the stadium cost, you've got all of these costs. Who absorbs that loss?
They have
Insurance policy.
insurance.
Insurance policy.
Yep. They have insurance.
Wow.
cancellation, yeah,
Yeah,
cancellation
and
insurance.
it's expensive insurance. It's often underwritten by somebody like Lloyd's or Chubb, and
Yeah,
they're
Lloyd's.
and they're paying a lot for that insurance. The insurance is not cheap because performing artists can be fickle. So history, the actuarial database on it's pretty clear. So yeah, they have insurance and it's expensive, but they need it because anything can happen. I think
Yeah.
there was an artist who had like just a tip over in their hotel room or something, or and they had to cancel a bunch of shows because it was
A tip over? What's a
well, it
tip
was like a
over?
garden variety dumb accident. The guy was like stepping out of bed to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, and he tripped over the cord that was, tied to the lamp, and the lamp fell in front of him, and he impaled his shoulder. I mean, just a dumb accident, but that stuff happens.
What kind of hotel was he staying at that had cords like
It
that?
was it was called the Jan Landy SoundBroker Inn.
Oh yeah, well you can be sure that there were no loose cables at the Jan Landy
No,
Soundbroker
but
Inn.
there were so many ladies with him in bed as he was trying to like crawl over them all, and
Oh,
that's
that's what
how
he tripped over a G string.
that's
I
how
get
he
it.
fell. Yes, exactly.
That is dumb luck, man. That is dumb luck. But speaking of G strings, by now, this is going to blow your mind if you don't know this.
Is that what we were
That
speaking of?
No, but
well, we could be.
Jan's mind tends to wander in that direction.
Yeah, well, you'll see why in 1 second. Give me a break here. Okay, so I just read that the size of the U.S. secondhand apparel market in 2024 went from 28 billion to $49 billion for used clothing. The
Oh, you
surge
bet.
in foot traffic to thrift stores went up 40%, and 40 million, that's the number of members of the Real Real, considered the leader in the luxury resale business.
Yeah.
40 million people are buying used clothes on
Well,
Real Real.
there's a fat element, and then there's the element that people don't have enough money to buy new clothes. And I'll just give you a little data point here. So there are three companies, only one of them I can name, which is called Klarna. But if you go on to Domino's Pizza in the United States and you order more than two pies, you have the option to finance that purchase over a month.
No. Really?
No lie.
Oh my
With your credit
God.
So,
card.
If you have to
well,
finance two
that's
pies, you
no,
got no business
that's
ordering
yes,
them.
yes. So if you accept the financing plan, then Klarna clears your credit card transaction, so they get they get the credit card transaction fee. Otherwise there's no money, 0%, but they get the fee, and you can finance pizza anything down to a pizza purchase. So it's
Oh my
this
God.
whole concept of buy now pay later is really serious. I mean, it's indicating much larger systemic issues that are
Yeah.
driving those purchase decisions.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Scary
Yep.
stuff. Scary stuff.
Well, speaking of scary stuff, Roger Daltrey of The Who is going to be at the Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp. So if you are a frustrated musician and you want to play with Roger Daltrey, you can between January 28th and February 1st. It's going to be, I believe it's in Florida this year, Miami, actually. And when they announced that, their computer system went down. They had so much traffic to their website for people who wanting to play with Roger Daltrey that they collapsed their internet.
Wow.
I took a look at, they have one of these in the drum. They do them per
Yeah.
instrument, and
Yeah, my son
they
did
had
a couple of them.
they had a fantasy drum camp just recently. So it was Gavin Harrison, and then Dennis Chambers, and a couple of other. Yeah, I mean, Gavin is the one who got me into just absolutely loving Odd Time. And now, I mean,
Yeah.
whenever I go to practice, which is every day, it's always 7, 9, 17, and then I'll go to 4/4. But yeah, I mean, it's I love Odd Time.
You know,
So
one
So, what do you
weird thing
think of
about
Ringo
Gavin.
Starr's drumming, Chris?
Oh, Ringo is probably one of the greatest drummers
yeah,
that has ever lived.
he's not fancy, but his timing is impeccable.
Well, his timing is no, but I honestly, Bruce got a point there. You know, you have to look back at the '60s and '70s. They weren't listening to clicks, mate. They
Right,
were
they were
not.
not. They were not
They
clicking.
did not have a click. And
No.
you go back and run an analysis on those tracks. Yes, there's some areas where they do it, but that's just that's just
That's
part
just
of the pocket.
part of the
Go ahead,
live
Denny.
feel, you know.
Vas-y, Denny. Vas-y, vas-y.
Yeah, yeah,
Merci,
yeah. Yeah,
merci, Christopher.
my son spent 2 days with Joe Picaro, which was pretty cool talking about
Wow.
Oh, Jeff's
clicks.
dad.
Jeff's dad, yeah.
Oh,
And
wow, yeah.
he's a percussionist, you know, but
Yes.
my
Yep.
son was a drummer, but he loved it. Oh my God. He was right in Pasadena. They spent 2 days playing together. It was like 6 other people, and they had a
That'd
blast.
That'd
He
be
loved
pretty
it.
special. That'd be
Yeah.
pretty special.
Yeah.
Anyway, just to
About
finish
Ringo.
up, Alice Cooper, Rob Halford from Julia from Judas Priest is going to be there. Let me see who else. Felix Cavalieri from the Rascals, Mark Farner from Grand Funk Railroad, Jason Sheff from Chicago, Liberty DeVito from Billy Joel. All of these people are going to be there. It's impressive what they've done.
Go ahead,
So
Denny.
if you want to play
Yeah.
with the pros, there you go.
We've done the ad section now from Jan. But I'm going to go back to, just the lesser Ringo. That's a joke. Ringo, a couple of things. First of all, Ringo was recommended by Mr. George Martin. So right away, that says something huge about his capability. The other thing about Ringo, I saw an interview the other day of Vinny Cali
Aliuta.
Caliuta.
being interviewed by Rick Beato.
Yep.
And in the interview, Beato asked him what's his favorite album. It's a Miles Davis record, and he said, "What's your second favorite?" He says, "It's the White Album." And a drummer, the White Album. And he said, "Why?" He said, "Ringo." And he says, "Why?" "The Beatles. Nothing else needs to be said." That's how high he put him.
Yeah, and Vinny is probably one of my favorite drummers. But the one thing that can be said about Ringo that I think most people in the space agree on is that his parts were so judiciously picked and perfect for the
Yes.
song.
Yeah,
Just
simple a lot of times.
Perfect for the
but
song.
right on the money.
Yes.
And that big video that was like spread over like 8 videos. I think it was the Get Back, or I forget what the name was, when they were doing a particular album, and it was in 8 sections. I forget. I'm not sure if you remember
the story
one.
of the Beatles that was on, where was it? It was on Disney, right?
Yes.
That one.
Yeah. Anyway, what I loved about it, and Chris, I'm not sure how you're going to feel about this, but a band's writing a song. Typically, the drummer will be right back there, and he'll be starting to bash, and he's not really helping the writing process. But what I saw there was when they were starting the writing process, Ringo sat there, did nothing. And then the song would evolve to a certain point. Then Ringo would sit behind the drum kit, and then he'd be doing something super light, not bothering what they were doing, and getting his parts ready. Then the song would evolve to a certain point. Then Ringo would then bring in the certain point. And then when the song was ready, Ringo was ready. And
he was
didn't
studying.
impede. That's right. He was not impeding.
He was reading the build.
That's right. And then he would say, this is what the song will do. And he was ready. And that really, really impressed me, because sadly in my world, many drummers would have been right behind the drum kit, causing a ruckus, not really helping the process. And I understand that they're trying to find their groove, but to see Ringo and the artistry of what he was doing just blew me away.
No, you're right. He was such a good drummer that the Beatles even let him sing a few songs. It was amazing.
There's a reason for that, by the way. You know that.
Go ahead.
The reason was that he had one of the biggest pool of fans, and to help to pacify those fans, they'd give him a song, and first of all, he'd have ideas for song, but it was important for the Beatles to have at least one Ringo song so that the Ringo fans, would be satisfied.
Well, it's an interesting thing that, from my understanding, is that Ringo was more famous in the very beginning. You know, when the Beatles brought him in, he was already with a bigger band than the Beatles at the time. So he had a much
Oh,
more
I didn't know that.
wider reputation. Yeah.
Oh,
And
wow.
there's another great parallel reference here. So when Charlie Watts passed away, he had already told the band that, you know, if something ever happened to him, that Steve Jordan is your man. And I saw an interview with Steve Jordan, and what was the first thing out of Steve Jordan's mouth during the interview is, you know, I'm done with ego. I just listen to the music and try to play what the song needs, you know? And it's very tough because drums is, I don't know why it's so unique, but, you know, that as a drummer, it is very tempting, you know,
Well,
to
there's a lot
wanna.
more to the
It's so
drums
easy.
than
It's
really
so easy
meets
to
the eye.
overdo it too. It's so easy
It
to
is,
overdo it.
and there's a wonderful video if you haven't seen it. You can just Google it. It's like, um, you know, a drummer overplays a wedding, and this
Yeah,
guy,
it's
there's
very
a
funny.
video of him playing ZZ Top, and it is literally, I was crying. I was laughing so hard at this guy's, you know, playing
I've
drums on.
seen it. Very
uh,
funny.
oh my God, it's just brilliant.
Discipline, discipline, discipline. You
Well,
know,
that's the other thing that, you know, you look at Picaro. You know, Picaro played on a lot of
Oh,
tunes on Gaucho,
yeah, Jeff was
yeah,
amazing. I love Jeff.
and there's actually and what's I have never figured out, and you know, the one thing that I'll ask Steely Dan's remaining member if I ever run into him is, why didn't they use Vinnie more? He only played on Negative Girl.
Didn't
uh,
Steve Gadd do a few of the tunes too?
oh,
Because
Steve
Steve
yeah.
Gadd did
Gadd,
On
Steve,
Asia,
ages.
yeah,
on
Steve
Yeah.
Asia,
Gadd is scary. He
yeah.
comes up with
What
the
about
strangest
Carmen
stuff, man. I
Apiece?
love Steve Gadd.
But if you want to listen to a great drum part, check out Negative Girl on Steely Dan, which is like one of the only appearances of Vinnie Colaiuta with Steely Dan.
Wow,
Mhm.
I'll have to
And
listen to that.
it is
What about Carmen Apiece, do you
absolutely,
think, Chris? Do you like him?
oh, from he was playing with Rod Stewart among others. Yeah, Carmen's a legend. I mean,
Yeah, of
totally.
course. Yeah.
Who
Yeah.
was the main drummer
Anyway.
on King Crimson?
Well, there was Bill Bruford, and then, you know, I think even Gavin. They had like three drummers at one point.
On the last tour, they had three, but
Yeah.
there
Bruford
was
was
a
pretty
guy.
out there.
One of the guys that was after Bruford was, weirdly enough, the guy that was with Mr. Mister.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, he was with them for a long time. He was when they, at one point, before Gavin and the other drummer came in there on that three drummer tour, that particular drummer, and I forget his name right now, but he was their drummer for a long time.
Was he the one on the center, or the one on stage right? The one on stage left, I'm told, it writes all the parts and tells all the other drummers what to play and how to tune the chords and all that stuff. And he
Yeah.
did all of it in the studio and then put it out.
If he was the one on stage right, because I believe the one on stage left was Gavin.
And Gavin is like, I mean, talk about precision playing. I mean, Gavin is amazing. I met him a couple of times. And so I met him at a show, and I asked him, you know, there's a song called Halo where they break into a bridge guitar solo. This whole song's in 4/4, but then the bridge guitar solo is in 17. Why not? And so I asked him, and I said, but, you know, when you're playing in 17, how do you do it? How do you know where a one is? And he didn't want to answer. I had to ask him three times, and then he finally gave the answer, which was, so there's a famous phrase in drumming: if you can't say it, you can't play it.
Yes.
And
Yep.
And so one of what he's doing, like when he gets into 17, is that he has an audible phrase. So the Indians have a percussive alphabet, and he doesn't use that particular percussive alphabet, but he'll come up with a phrase that is 17 long. And it's basically, I think he said it's 3 bars of 5 and a bar of 2. That's the way that he played it. And he had a phrase. And so, at any rate, preparing for the Pineapple Tree Tour, he literally went hoarse from singing the drum parts during rehearsals so that he knew where one was.
Wow, if I go to bed,
What a great story, man. That's
that's
great.
amazing. Because
Yes.
I'm gonna go to bed way less dumb tonight than I. This is really important cue that you just gave me, Chris. Because I've been wondering some of this stuff. By the way, I know about the Indian stuff because in the India, like you can't play tabla until you could uh, vocally do the lines.
Right.
Like,
So here's a really short phrase that you can repeat and repeat, which uses the Indian alphabet, which is tin tin dina dina tin tin na dina dina tin tin na dina dina, and it's a trance. And so you start playing tin tin na dina dina, and then these guys will, like the tabla players that really know what they're doing, they'll take off and they'll do, they'll meet you back in 2 or 3 bars, and they go off into this other space, but it all lines up when it needs to.
yeah, and by the way, they can repeat what Christopher just said at machine gun speed.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
it-
they can do it really, really fast. And I'll leave you with this. There was we're talking about Beato. So Beato interviewed oh geez, he's a fantastic pianist.
The one that did the one that was with Steely Dan, that one.
No, no, no. Oh my God, he has a really famous piano trio. Let me just go to my jazz playlist. I'll find him here. Brad Meldau. So Brad Meldau is probably one of the most prolific pianists alive. I mean, Lyle Mays, rest in peace, was absolutely insane. But Brad Meldau. So in the Rick Beato, I think it's in the Rick Beato interview, he's playing. So 3/4 is pretty easy. But 5/4 is like really weird because one hand has to play 5 notes in the space of 4, which is known as a quintuplet. So Brad Meldau with his left hand will be playing a quintuplet and playing just 4 on his other hand, and then he can switch. Why not? So he can be playing a quintuplet with his left hand, then he'll move the quintuplet to his right hand, and then he'll assume the other 4 with his left hand. And he demonstrates it on the piano. It's absolutely mind-blowing.
What keys
Wow.
was he in, and what chords was it?
Sorry?
What key
What
was
chords
he?
was it?
Oh,
What
I
chords?
do. Oh, Brad Meldau can play anything. If you're unfamiliar with him, familiarize yourself. He's got the Brad Meldau trios, probably the place to start, and then you can move off from there. Some of the most beautiful piano playing.
How would you compare him to Hiromi?
I'm not familiar with that pianist.
Check her out. She's
Oh, is
she
this the
actually,
Japanese?
yes.
Yes.
She's
Okay,
the one
amazing.
that was in a trio with that famous drummer with the one with all the toms there.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about. Yep.
Oh, that guy. Yeah.
Hang on. He's gonna come
No,
up.
he's
He
a
was
really
with Toto.
famous
He
Japanese
was with
drummer.
Toto. He was with the Who. Oh, come on now. Anyway,
You can come up with it. Come on, give it some thought. All right.
no.
Hey.
I'm my memory is so bad. But come
You
on,
see, that's what I
Christopher,
was
you
saying
must
to you
know this
earlier. I look
drummer.
in the mirror. I don't know who
Come on,
I
Christopher, you
can't
must know
remember
this
that guy's
drummer.
name.
Akira Jimbo.
No.
No.
No. He played with
Nobuaki
Toto.
Kaneko.
He was with Steely Dan until they just switched over to a new drummer. He was
Bruce
there.
Fallis? Was it Bruce?
No,
Oh, are you
No,
thinking
no,
of
no.
Carlock?
no. Okay, I'm gonna
Wayne
Google it.
Sims? Could have been Wayne Sims.
No.
Ken Porter?
I can't believe that
I don't
nobody
think
is
it's.
coming up
I
with
I
this.
don't
Okay, I'm
think
gonna
that
go and do it.
there's
Toto
Yo-Yo
drummer.
Ka and Nobu Aguchi.
Toto
Yeah,
drummers.
yeah. I mean, oh,
Okay,
Toto. I thought you said.
Simon Phillips.
Oh, Simon Phillips.
Oh,
Yeah,
I love
he's English.
Simon.
Okay,
Yeah,
so anyway,
Simon's
Yes,
great.
Simon's
Hiromi,
amazing.
yeah, so Hiromi was doing a trio with Simon Phillips and
Oh
Anthony
wow.
Jackson on bass, and they were doing stuff that was somewhere between Chick Corea and Keith
Yeah,
Emerson.
check out Simon Phillips. He has his own band called Protocol. They've got like 3 or 4 songs up.
Okay.
Absolutely nuts. If you like
Yeah.
fusion,
Yeah.
I mean, Protocol. Simon's a great guy. He actually lives up in Ojai.
Well,
Really?
All
check
right. Well,
out.
gentlemen, I have to say we're going to keep
Okay.
this going,
Okay.
but we're going to go offline right now because we've been on over an hour and 5 minutes. So I would have to say thanks for watching. Thanks for coming. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for making it happen. This has been Thinking Out Loud with Friends of SoundBroker, 277 in the can. Next week, of course, 278. And with that, before we go, anybody have anything other than this drumming business that we want to talk about? Because all I kept thinking is during this whole thing is Christopher Walken saying, more cowbell, more cowbell. That's what
More
we need.
cowbell, baby. More cowbell.
Anyway, with that in mind, remember, you make it happen. Come join us. You know how to get us. DM us wherever you're watching this, and we'll send you a link. Other than that, remember to give it the thumbs up and remember to share it with your friends because this has been really interesting. I mean, we all learned something today more than I thought we would learn, and it's been very interesting, and it has moved so fast. Really, wow, I can't believe where the time goes. So thanks a lot for watching. Remember, you make it happen. We'll see you again next week, same time, same place. Until then, be safe and have a great week. All right, bye.